with an expert who knows the subject very well. Yesterday, we had the former Foreign Secretary Shashank to discuss a key issue. Now, with us is a very special guest, Mr. Anand Mishra, a veteran journalist who knows each and everything about the Congress. And now, Congress is in the midst of a political crisis in Rajasthan. Through Gehlot, who was slated to become the president of the party, has more or less revolted against the High Command. So, Mr. Mishra, let us begin with the overview of the current situation in Rajasthan for the Congress.
Manish, the significance of Rajasthan development for Congress leadership is that this is for the first time that state MLAs have dared to defy this central diktat. The High Command's message to the state unit was clear that the High Command wants a change of guard in the state, and despite that, the MLA chose not to attend CLP meeting called in by the emissaries sent by IICC. Instead, they chose to gather at a residence of MLA loyal to Chief Minister Mr. Ashok Gehlot. So this is a first clear-cut assertion by a regional satrap in Congress against the High Command's decision. So the message is that in future also such decisions are not going to be very easy. Like we saw some time back when the central leadership decided to have a change of guard in Punjab. They managed to do it with some difficulties, but still the chief minister could not muster up a rebellion, or the MLAs there did not back him against the central leadership's decision. Here we see an entirely different scenario playing out. So it's an entirely different text and subtext for Congress now.
Indeed, today in the newspapers, in fact, all the newspapers have run an editorial on the Rajasthan crisis of the Congress. And the theme that the editorials was that even a novice would have known that propping Sachin Pilot would have invited this sort of a revolt from Ashok Gehlot. Still, the Congress High Command gave a message that they would back Sachin Pilot. Is it willful or out of ignorance on the part of the High Command of the Congress?
So, Manish, they are clearly taken by surprise because Mr. Ashok Gehlot is a known loyalist of the party. He has been a known Gandhi family loyalist also. So, perhaps the central leadership felt that once they take the decision, Mr. Gehlot will play the ball. He will not go against the decision taken by the Gandhis. But clearly, this has not happened. So this is a misreading of the situation. The second more important thing is that with so many MLAs gathering together, expressing trust in the leadership of Mr. Gehlot, one thing is very clear that even if the central leadership forces a change of guard in the state, the stability of such a government headed by a person in whom the majority of MLA do not have trust, and the pinpricks that the new government, that the new chief minister will have from these MLAs from the rival camp. I mean, so even if the leadership succeeds in carrying out the change, how beneficial it will be electorally for the Congress is it remains doubtful.
Definitely, but this Rajasthan incident has taken place very closely following what happened in Goa when eight of the Congress MLAs joined the BJP. From the Punjab or Assam Chief Minister Hemanta Biswa Sarma or Jyotiraditya Scindia, there appears that BJP is lapping the Congress leaders who have any sort of basis in their states, and Congress is letting them go. What exactly is the problem with the Congress?
Clearly, the party is in a drift. The center cannot hold. That kind of scenario is there, and perhaps it's time for the central leadership in Congress also to realize that times have changed. It's not the same time when in Congress the powerful Prime Minister Indira Gandhi used to change chief ministers at the drop of a hat. Now, at a time when the central leadership has failed to win two Lok Sabha elections for the party, and there have been questions about the leadership role of Gandhis. The regional leaders are much more significant. They are now much more significant than they were before ever in past. If you look at the map of Congress in the states, you see that Congress is now ruling only two states, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. In both these states, we have strong regional leaders. If you remove the chief ministers there, it will be difficult for Congress to win back the state. We have seen a similar story playing out in Chhattisgarh some time back when there was a power tussle between Chief Minister Mr. Bhupesh Baghel and veteran senior leader T.S. Singhdeo. So, despite the Congress leadership wanting to have a change of guard to honor its promise of switching chief ministers after 2.5 years, they could not do it because they could not risk the possibility of Mr. Baghel's rebellion. Here also, it is very clear that Mr. Gehlot is not going to make way so easily, and with majority of MLAs behind him, I think it's time for the central leadership also to revisit its stand.
Definitely. So your frame has frozen, in fact. But taking forward the discussion, Congress leadership is not taking any lessons from Punjab or Goa. And we see that major regional satraps of the Congress are drifting away. They are being grabbed by the BJP. And at a time when opposition unity is the buzzword, Nitish Kumar is taking the lead, but Congress is somewhat seen as a fringe player in the opposition space. Don't you think, Mr. Mishra, that 2024 would be too big a call for the Congress now that the party is in such a bad shape?
That goes without saying that right now 2024 is a very big, too big a task for Congress. That's why we see the political discourse that is now playing out is NDA versus regional parties. That's why we see this mammoth meeting in Haryana where all the regional parties, socialist parties attended, in which Congress was not invited. It did not take part. Though there were clarion call from some leaders that Congress should be part of this overall opposition alliance, but clearly the message is that even if Congress is part of this opposition alliance, the leadership question is open. It's not the alliance led by Congress like we saw twice previously in UPA 1 and UPA 2. So 2024 right now seems a battle between regional parties and NDA, with Congress having a role to play in the formation of the next government if the regional parties manage to notch up the numbers.
True, but coming back to Rajasthan, Sachin Pilot appears to have a very low base even in the state. Definitely, Gujar electoral base is with him. But the OBC vote base is definitely with Ashok Gehlot. And Gehlot for long has been known to be a man of organization. The party workers have been with him in a big number. Don't you think that Congress could have done the leadership issue in a much better, amicable manner by taking Ashok Gehlot in confidence?
Manish, you see, the big dilemma before Congress is that its young leaders are in a hurry. They are not in a mood to wait longer, and the aging leaders, senior leaders, are not ready to vacate the chair. So that becomes a big problem for them whenever they want to carry out a change in the state. You see, in the contrast, BJP has changed two chief ministers in Uttarakhand just before polls without a fuss. In Assam, they changed a winning chief minister and anointed Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma as the next chief minister, and Mr. Sarvanand Sonowal quietly withdrew his claim. This is not happening in Congress. Whenever there is a plan to change, carry out a change, it is being met with stiff resistance. So the dilemma for Congress is: can they keep trusting in the putting their trust in the existing old leadership, or do they go for a new some new blood? So, and they're finding it difficult to carry out. They have found same difficulty in carrying it out in Haryana when Mr. Rahul Gandhi appointed Ashok Tawar as the PCC chief, and after 5 years before the elections, the party had to acquiesce before the wishes of Mr. Bhupinder Singh Huda. And the other thing is that the youngsters are not giving that much result also. I'm not being specific about Rajasthan. In Rajasthan, still Mr. Sachin Pilot had some role in bringing the party to power, and when he was party chief, he had led a very spirited campaign, and many give a fair portion of the credit for victory to Mr. Pilot. But in other states, wherever young leadership was promoted, they were given crucial charges. They failed to revive the party. If you remember in 2018, when Congress won the elections in three states, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, and Chhattisgarh, in Madhya Pradesh, they could win only when Mr. Digvijay Singh, Mr. Kamal Nath came together along with Mr. Jyotiraj Scindia. Uh, Before that, in 2013, Mr. Scindia was made the Congress campaign committee chief, but the state unit was divided, and he was not getting this support of the veterans. The party could not win. So it's a typical dilemma before Congress what to do. Because in Himachal Pradesh, we saw as long as Mr. Virbhadra Singh was alive, he did not allow any leadership change to happen, and twice he forced the central leadership to declare him as CM face. Now, Mr. Vijay Singh is no more, and there is no second-rung leadership in shape in Himachal Pradesh. So, Congress is fighting this election. Congress had to again fall back on the legacy of Mr. Singh and appoint his wife as the face of the election. So now this dilemma of Congress seems to have no end. I mean, it's a very difficult scenario for the party which is out of power for 10 years, in which the dictate of the central leadership is not being heard, and in the organization there is intense rivalry for power.
True. That appears to be the case that the Gandhis have now much weaker electoral appeal, and that may be playing out with the regional satraps in the party. In that context, now that the veterans have gone, like Ghulam Nabi Azad, Kapil Sibal, and definitely the party is missing Ahmed Patel since he is no more. Uh, do you think that the Gandhis who used to bank so heavily on Ahmed Patel is without a reliable aid to work out the party affairs in the states?
Pardon, Manish, I would just like you to
Yeah.
clarify your
Uh,
question a little more.
can you look at your video because your frame is frozen? What I was saying that yes, now it's
Yeah.
better. Uh, what I was saying that now Ahmed Patel is no more, and Ahmed Patel used to hold the Congress very in a tight, we can say, in a group, and being a very reliable and trustable aid of the Gandhis. Now Gandhis don't have that sort of right hand to bank on. Is that is that a big absence that the Gandhis are feeling?
Manish, Ahmad Patel's loss is definitely a big loss for Congress, for the Gandhis in particular, because he was the man to go, be it funding issues, be it tackling the crisis in the party. He was the chief troubleshooter. But the problems of Congress are way beyond one person, way beyond Ahmad Patel. See, Congress has become like an old house. If you repair at one place, the other part starts leaking. So, and they're in power for such a long time that you can practically blame them for everything. If there is a blame game is going on, then the opposition can pinpoint them for every problem plaguing the country. But they have been in power for the last 60 years, so clearly they don't have the advantage of a new party like Aam Aadmi Party, which starts with a clean slate, or even BJP, which was not in power for a long time, which has only come to power for 10, 15 years in the entire span. So they have won this problem that they were in power, and India is a diverse country with multiple problems. All the problems can not be solved, have not been solved. But they had to take the blame for each and everything. That's one. Secondly, practically during the, Indira Gandhi's tenure itself, if you I take you back to the book of written by Mr. Pranab Mukherjee's team about Congress, so in which he wrote at one place that how the state leadership was destroyed at that time when Congress was very powerful at the center. Mrs. Gandhi was the prime minister, and chief ministers were changed at the drop of a hat. So gradually, Congress became very weak in all the states. It's not about a problem of 5 to 6 years. If you see in Tamil Nadu, Congress lost powers more than 40 years back. It is yet to come to power there, despite Mrs. Sonia Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, even Indira Gandhi being there. In UP, Congress lost power almost 25 years back. They are yet to come back. In Bihar, they are piggy riding on regional parties. So it's a difficult scenario for Congress. Northeast used to be a strong bastion of Congress. Uh, Northeast they have completely lost, partly because of Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma switching side from Congress to BJP, and in 2016 BJP winning the state, Assam gateway to Northeast, and then gradually capturing the entire Northeast. So clearly, the party needs some out-of-box thinking, some long-term overhaul measures, which are not happening, and that's why we see some, from time to time this call for a total change. Like we saw the G23 writing unprecedented letter to Sonia Gandhi, and then some of the leaders of G23 leaving the party. So clearly, the senior leaders are also not seeing a future. They are not seeing also a future strategy. Congress had great hopes from this Bharat Jodo Yatra, but this ugly power spat playing out in Rajasthan in the midst of this Bharat Jodo Yatra and in upcoming Congress organizational polls, that it's a that does not augur well for the party.
True, no, but it's a very sad commentary since you have taken us back to those era of 80s when the politics of Ayaram and Gairam was heralded by the Congress with the advent of Indira Gandhi at the top of the party. But we know that till 1969, there was a very high level of internal democracy in Congress. And after Indira Gandhi, she hegemonized the party leadership. And that disease of high command, which in fact had a cascading effect, and now that every party has that sort of a culture. There is no internal democracy in any of the parties in India right now. Where does Indian politics go from here? Because even if you take, for instance, the BJP, uh, even in the BJP, a couple of persons decide the things they want to do. There would not be transparent discussions. So, do you think that the high command culture that the Congress brought also decimated the scope of internal democracy in the Indian polity?
Manish, see, one of the advantage, every scenario has advantage and disadvantage. One of the advantages of this high command, so-called high command culture, has been that there has been discipline in the party for the time being. So as long as the top leadership was powerful, remained powerful, it had its advantage. Once the top leadership gets weakened, then everything falls in place because you don't have strong leaders in states. You don't have second rank leaders below the 1 or 2 persons. So they can't carry on the party's success story beyond any further. This had happened in past after Indira Gandhi's Congress weakened Congress in the states. I mean, totally tottered, and that's one of the reason why Congress is in a sad state now. That will happen again in future if any other party, be it BJP or something, if 2 or 3 persons control everything, and in the process the state leadership gets weakened, then this will play out again in future. But one more thing that needs to be taken into account is that unlike BJP, which has an RSS to oversee the party's functioning in make right interventions at the time, we have seen the intervention in UP some time back when there was a strong buzz about differences between Mr. Yogi Adityanath and the central leadership. They intervened, and then some sort of a balancing power arrangement was ensured. In Congress, it's not happening. So when a decision is taken from the top, and there is a total protest or rebellion from the state, then there is no second organization to broker peace to find out a middle ground. Like we saw in the case of Andhra Pradesh long back when Mr. Vaisal Reddy died in the plane crash, and Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy state claim for chief ministership. He had the support of all the MLAs, but But some senior leaders in the state as well as the central leadership decided to do otherwise. In the process, Congress got decimated in Andhra Pradesh, and Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy is now chief minister of Simandra. There was no, when this difference of opinion came between a strong regional leader and the central leadership, there was no other organization to broker peace to bring in a semblance of order. So for Congress, the problem will be much more deeper. If they fail to come to terms with the realities in states, if there is a not a balance between the viewpoints of the central leadership and the strong state leaders. We have seen that in Punjab. The central leadership managed to effect a change in Punjab before the polls, but the overall result has been disastrous for the party. The transition was not smooth. There was bitter bad blood, and the party almost felt like a pack of cards. In Rajasthan, also, if uh, in such a scenario a power shift is done, a change of guard is done, I don't think it's going to do any benefit to Congress.
Indeed, if we go a little back in the 1990s, till 1998, after the demise of Rajiv Gandhi, P.V. Narasimha Rao and Sitaram Kesari, they held the party. And in 1998, Sonia Gandhi came and she gave, within, we can say, in 6 years, in 2004, she brought the party back in power. And for the last 24 years, Sonia Gandhi has been the president of the Congress, barring a few years when Rahul Gandhi took the charge. Now that Sonia Gandhi is age is on the she's on the wrong side of the age, and she's not so actively seen in the campaign field on the campaign trail. Where does the Gandhis go? Because Rahul Gandhi had enough of his chances. Since 2009, we have been seeing him in action in in UP or at other places, but the party hasn't got any direction from him.
I think Rahul Gandhi has made it very clear this time that they will not have a president from Gandhi family. So, and he's very keen that somebody from a non-Gandhi family takes over the presidency, and so that we can see a difference. Once a non-Gandhi family person holds the presidency of a party, runs the party affairs for a few years, and then it can be seen what kind of different results come out. That's one. And secondly, it's not about voting or voting out one individual as such. If you see, after every 10 years, Congress has faced this scenario of being out of power, looking irrelevant. But Indian democracy is such that no one party or no one alliance can rule permanently, whether it is Congress or whether it is BJP. So some sort of vacuum will be there, and some sort of new arrangement will come up. But for the time being, the Congress has to find a new narrative. Congress cannot go on. Uh, I mean, to people meeting, going to people with the same old hackneyed narrative, and they cannot also hope to come to power only in the name of Gandhi's. That currency is gone now. There was a time when only the Gandhi's name used to fetch votes. That is not going to be the scenario. If you see, most of the states where Congress have come to power, they have come to power on the basis of strong state leadership phase one, and properly planned policy announcements. Like in Madhya Pradesh, this farm loan waiver that played a key role. In 2009 Lok Sabha polls, this farm loan waiver, the central level had a great effect. So had Manrega. So now Congress can come to power only if they come out with an alternative set of policies with proper reaching out to the different sections. They have a leadership phase at the top, and they also have leadership phase in different states. Now, one leader in Congress party's top cannot ensure them victory. That thing is a
Indeed.
passe for Congress. That thing is there in the BJP for the time being. It will remain there for a few years. But that's not a permanent scenario for any party.
Indeed. Going back, we have seen that Rahul Gandhi has spent a lot of days in Kerala. In fact, after the emergency, it was the South India which brought back, or rather, in fact, even in the 77 election, the South India had supported Congress very strongly. Do you think that Congress can revive from the southern states like Kerala or Karnataka, for instance?
Manish, the difference is that at that time, when South India propelled Congress back to power, regional parties were not so strong.
True.
Now Congress is piggy riding DMK in Tamil Nadu. In Karnataka, BJP is a strong force, which was not the case earlier, because the Congress weakened, then the Janata Parivar came, then the Janata Party disintegrated. A lot of Janata Party voters switched to BJP. In Kerala, left LDF is is a strong force, and their power alternates between LDF and UDF after 5 years. So yes, in Kerala, Congress won a good number of Lok Sabha seats in last Lok Sabha polls. Some sort of strength is there. In comparison to North India, Congress is still having some traction in the south, but Congress cannot be entirely depend on south for coming back to power. They have to do their homework in eastern India, in northern states, in Odisha where there is a strong force. Now they are weakening. They have to do their homework there. They have to strengthen their position there. And UP, Uttar Pradesh remains crucial to the revival of Congress. As long as they don't get back their strength, or at least some of their strength in UP, the chances of Congress coming to power is very, very remote.
True. Coming back to one consequential impact because of the Rajasthan rebellion. Earlier, we thought that Ashok Gehlot would be the next president of the Congress because he had the backing of the Gandhis. Now there appears to be a second thought, and Kamal Nath was in the national capital. Do you think that Shashi Tharoor will have a new rival to contest in the election?
I think still a lot of things have to happen in that contest. Today, Mr. A.K. Antony is in Delhi, is meeting Sonia Gandhi. So, and he has been the most loyal soldier of Congress Party. And they have been, his questions in the Gandhi family is excellent. So, we have Mr. A.K. Antony, Mr. Kamal Nath, Mr. Shashi Tharoor. One thing is very clear for the time being, that this earlier this doubt was being raised that if Mr. Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi chooses to contest, then this entire contest will be farcical. So he has taken a backseat. So there is going to be a non-Gandhi president this time. That is very much clear. Second thing is clear that after this conflict and controversy in Rajasthan, Mr. Gehlot's chances of becoming party president very dim. So
True.
we are looking towards a contest here, and yes, Shashi Tharoor is a very prominent face.
If hypothetically speaking, if Shashi Tharoor becomes the president of Congress, because he is seen to be a suave person, very sophisticated, very cosmopolitan in approach, probably the youth connects with him. He has a lot of appeal among the youth. Do you think that he would be able to bring a new narrative in the Congress?
His problem will be perhaps taking along with him the party veterans, uh, who are hard-nosed politicians who have worked in Congress for last 30 to 40 years, 50 years. So that will be a major challenge for him. uh, uh, because I mean he joined Congress some time back, but his beginning was not as a politician. He began and his beginning was roots were somewhat different. So that challenge, how does he surmount that challenge? That remains to be seen. I will still say that we should be side with caution. I still feel that the result is not out. Mr. Sasish Tharoor is one of the probable contestants. That's it.
Okay, okay.
It would not be
So
surprised if some entirely different name comes out.
okay. So on this note, we will wrap up this discussion. Mr. Anand Mishra, the political editor, a veteran journalist who has kept a tab on the Congress for several years, gave us very great insight into the affairs of the Congress. We will be back with a new episode again for an in-depth analysis on a trending issue. Thank you so much, sir, for talking to the Rising Hills.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you.